Hello everybody, and today we are doing What If Deku was an Archangel, Part 3, last video of the series, because I've gone quite off the rails. We're off of Season 5 right now. That's currently coming out. I'll incorporate that into my videos when it's fully released, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times. So yeah, well, onto the video. Okay, mates. So, we continue this off right after Deku and Hawks started fighting All For One. Well, aka Shigaraki. And when the battle starts, Izuku immediately goes on the offensive, getting his sword out, and kept trying to slash at All For One. But All For One used, we'll say the forced Quirk activation, little tentacles, and Izuku nearly gets stabbed by it, but he just narrowly dodges. But Hawks, you see, he wasn't so lucky. All For One was actually aiming for Hawks, and when it went into Hawks, he was drilled into the ground. And All For One cut off his arm and immediately regenerated it. So the arm was still pouring power into the wound. And Hawks was hurt. He's basically out for the count. And All For One immediately knees Deku in the face, launching him into the ground. And when Deku looks back up, All For One uses a lot of quirks in one arm and smashes Izuku into the face. And Izuku, after stopped rolling, looks up to see All For One right above him and just says, "You rookie, this is not the place for you. You are too strong for your own good. Let me take that power and I'll use it perfectly." As Izuku just says to himself, "Perfect," as he slams his hands on the ground as he starts levitating. And All For One's like, "What the?" As the circle of divine blessing goes around All For One, as All For One starts looking around, is like, "What's happening?" As a heavenly wall goes around him, and one massive dragon comes down, lunging at him. As All For One starts powering up both of his arms, and he jumps at the dragon to try and hit it, but it quickly reappears behind him and crunches on him. And All For One wails in pain, but he quickly gets back up and just says, "Is that all?" As Izuku is shocked, like, "That is the move that took Shigaraki out." This guy's much more trouble. As he starts trying to hit All For One with all types of abilities. Eventually, he backs up so Endeavor can start trying to get hits in, as Izuku was told by Endeavor before Endeavor entered the fight, if there were to be a situation where the villain and him were fighting and Izuku got a seal off, don't undo it. As Izuku jumps back like, "I'm sorry, Enji. You told me to do this," as he slams his fist into the ground, and a massive heavenly aura goes around Izuku in the arena, as the seal starts forming very quickly, as All For One's like, "I can't do this," as he starts just destroying Endeavor. But Endeavor makes sure he doesn't leave. And when Endeavor gets him in a rear neck chokehold, he puts his flames to maximum and starts burning the body of All For One. As All For One keeps trying to get him off, the seal is complete. As Endeavor is like, I can rest easy, knowing I have defeated the strongest villain. As All For One's like, how dare you assume? As All For One's body erupts in black energy, exploding and combusting. And Endeavor is plunged into the ground, being bloodied and battered, and making a crater. As All For One gets literally all of his quirks in one arm, and says, there's no way your seal can protect you against this. As he reels his fist back and lunges at the seal, as Izuku's like, full protection, double power, as the seal gets double layered, and the punch cracks the seal, as Izuku's like, how? It's supposed to be unbreakable, as All For One hits it again, and that part shatters like glass. Izuku just flabbergasted, like, there's no way, as he pours all of his energy into his right arm and slams it into the ground and says, life seal, as now he literally can't move while the seal is actually unbreakable. And Izuku, being happy, like, there's no way you can escape now, villain. As that's when Dabi arrives. He's like, hello, boss. As Izuku looks to him like, no. As Toya's like, hello, Izuku. It's been a while. As Izuku's like, how does he know my name? As Dabi's like, I'm sorry, but this is the end of your journey. As he puts his hand out to Izuku, as Izuku, who's just shocked, like, I can't get my hand out of the ground in time. I'll have to retract a little energy. As he quickly makes a shield out of the little energy he still has left, and he says, do your worst, villain. Fire mode. As it forms a red shield. As Dabi quickly jumps over it and sends a massive fireball at him. And Izuku's like, no. As he can't get his arm to stretch as far as the fireball is. So he throws it over, but it actually melts when Dabi hits it. As Izuku accepts his fate, Hawks kicks him in the side, throwing him into a tree, and taking the entire blunt of the fireball, without any wings to spare. So, Izuku, as he shouts for Hawks, like, Kaigo, no! As he hits the tree and tries to scurry to Hawks' help, as Hawks looks back to him like, you got this, Izuku. I know you do. As Hawks is incinerated by Toya's blast. And when it dissipates, All For One and Dabi are right next to each other. As All For One's like, you're late. I almost lost that. As Dabi's like, well, I got rid of the number 3, didn't I? As Izuku, bloodied and battered, and knowing Endeavor's completely unconscious, accepts his defeat, like, I can't even defeat that villain, yet alone defeat you one-on-one, All For One. As All For One is like, you're going to meet a bloodied end, just like many before you. You remind me of Nana. As Izuku's like, but here's the difference. You never accounted for a trap. as all for one's like, what do you mean trap? As a massive oval shape goes around them. And all for one's like, ha, you think this'll defeat me? The first time it didn't do anything. As Izuku's like, this is for my fallen comrades. As he sees, instead of only one dragon coming down, he sees 30 of them all stacked on each other. And they split into two for Dabi and All For One as they're plunging towards the ground at him. All For One is like, my regen will finish the job for this. This won't do anything to help your situation. As Izuku also puts a seal around them. And Izuku thinking, this should be it. Yeah. As out of exhaustion, he starts losing ground. And when all the dragons clamp down on both Dabi and All For One, Dabi obviously dies. I mean, 15 dragons chomping at him, all stacked on each other, so Dabi's dead. 1 out of the 3 trio have died. And All For One, a literal blood river. And when all the blasts dissipate and Izuku stares at the seal with smoke filled with it, staring at All For One's limp body. As Izuku's like, I have to see. There's no way he survived that. As he limps towards the body with his broken arm and leg. And as he checks, he sees All For One barely look at him as he twists his neck like, I didn't account for that snatch ability. You took our quirks. Somehow, one of your dragons took All For One. You cheater. As All For One's body finally collapses and dies. Well, not All For One's body, Shigaraki's body, but All For One. His spirit dies. But, All For One's actually at the prison, so. And Izuku, being happy, like, so, I win. As a orb of light comes back to him, as he's like, yes, the snatch, as it all pours into his body, as Izuku immediately collapses, because it hurt a lot to get all those quirks. His body couldn't adjust to it in time. As Izuku, who had collapsed and no stamina and broken limbs, fell. He fell to the ground, dead, from his own abilities and power. And yeah. Oh, by the way, in Endeavor, he's holding on to life. So when Endeavor was rushed to the hospital, same with Izuku and Hawks, the doctors, while all 3 were in ambulances, pronounced Izuku, Midoriya, and Kaigo Tamaki dead. But Endeavor, he was saved, but he was paralyzed from the neck down. And he couldn't, his back was really messed up from that explosion of electricity and explosion. So yeah, if this is short, guys, deal with it. And yeah, that's where I'll be leaving off, everybody. That's the end of this series. Bye-bye, everybody. Get to 1,000 subs, you better.